number of people following us, because we are pioneers in social engineering. We are pioneers in reflecting the true pluralistic diversity of India without any reservation here. हम आज अकेले चले हैं जानिबे मंजिल, मगर लोग साथ आते रहेंगे और कारवां बन जाएगा.
वाह, क्या बात है.
We are brave enough. We are brave enough. We are brave enough. We are brave enough to think differently, sir. We are brave enough to think differently. We are brave enough to think differently, bold enough to act differently, because we believe we can change the world to reflect the true pluralistic diversity of India. And you are giving advance certificates of unconstitutionality. You are giving advance premature certification of unconstitutionality, perhaps because it doesn't find harmony with your basic 50-year-old philosophy of India, the idea of India, the diversity of India. That I cannot change, that I cannot help. Mr. Chairman, sir, on this ABC business, in all this hullabaloo, it is forgotten that there was a 3-month debate on the joint drafting committee where the fight was only A. And the standing committee jumped it to B. From A to B is 8 lakhs. A is 2.5 lakhs, B is 8 lakhs.
Group A, Group B.
Suppose we had left it at B. Just consider, suppose we had left it at B.
Called Group.
Group B. Group B includes everybody to section officer. Are we wrong in thinking that the idea of this act is to catch at least medium ticket and big ticket corruption? Or do you want to file reports like the CVC files today, saying that we have done 100 prosecutions, of which 99 are of a peon or of a driver? Point number one. Point number two, it must be clarified that tehsildars and talatis and those kind of people, which is a big problem in the mind of everybody, is all covered anyway under state. They are state notified personnel. Essentially, who is class C? Class C is drivers, peons, assistants. Yes, there are some classes, I believe, under C which do corruption in a bigger way also. But you have to draw a line somewhere. Why do we draw the line? 65 lakhs in a new nascent institution. Before this bill, C was not regulated by anybody except the departmental head. Before this bill, class C was not regulated by anybody except departmental head. Today we have gone further. We have A included A plus B. Secondly, we have put the whole of C under CVC. And who is CVC? CVC is a 2003 body where you sit as a selector. It's a body which is a premier body of India, 9 years old. Nobody has made allegations about it, where the opposition leader sits as a selector also. And the whole of C is now governed by CVC. And we've added 2 more things. We have said that after the CVC does the whole job, it will file a report, obliged to file a report to the Lokpal. And we've done one more thing, that when the report comes to the Lokpal will have the power to give an advisory back, that you should do things like this and not like this. Is that not fully meeting the sense of the House, which says do it? It ultimately merges into the Lokpal, but through an appropriate mechanism. I can't help it if our appropriate mechanism is not your appropriate mechanism, because your appropriate mechanism will never want to agree with any appropriate mechanism by the government. But the problem is that as far as the finance minister's statement is concerned, and one important interesting thing which we had missed out in many months of deliberations, even in the standing committee, the finance minister, incidentally, Mr. Chairman, sir, no individual members, howsoever high, comment in the course of a debate is decisive. Certainly my friend has read out something to me about Mr. Pranab Mukherjee and his own speech. What is relevant is the end. It is the sense of the House conveyed in those 4 lines. And those 4 lines are very interesting, which people forget. And this is the joke about semicolon. There is a semicolon between 3 categories, which you have to see. The semicolon says, just give me a second, I'll just hunt it out here, which is something which most people seem to forget. Yes. This is what Pranab Mukherjee said at the end, which is the sense of the House, or what we accept as the sense of the House, because there is no resolution of the Houses. This House discussed various issues relating to the setting up of a strong and effective Lokpal bill. This House agrees in principle on the following issues. colon, Citizens Charter, semicolon, lower bureaucracy also to be under Lokpal through an appropriate mechanism, semicolon, and establishment of Lokayukt in the states. So as far as under the Lokpal is concerned, but through an appropriate mechanism, it only applies to lower bureaucracy. Only.
Will withdraw the sense of the house.
No. There's no withdrawal.
Are you going to destroy the sense of the house by this?
There is, in other words, please, to simplify matters, 1 minute, to simplify matters, let me put it, there is not a sentence here in these 5 lines of Mr. Pranab Mukherjee conveying the sense of, there is not a word or a sentence here which suggests that Citizen Charter should or must be under the same Lokpal. There is not a word which suggests that a lower bureaucracy has to be directly under the Lokpal. Yes, the mechanism must fuse at the top, which is what this mechanism does. And the third thing which we have done, which incidentally is very interesting, the people outside were insisting that Lokayukt should be under the same act. When you went to Jantar Mantar, Mr. Jaitley, you never got up and said, although all of you are saying Lokayukt and Lokpal must be under the same act, we are objecting. Because you wanted to get the claps. You wanted only to agree. But you came out of that and said, here, they are strongly, their written note is, you must have Lokayukt and Lokpal under the same act. You go and agree there, and you come to the house and oppose it. You oppose it. Let me come to another point about
the honourable member's time is
about
concluding.
Constitutional status. Sir, 5 minutes. Constitutional status, please. Now, it is truly sad and tragic that just because a good idea is given by a General Secretary MP of the Congress, it must be shot down, not on the merits of the idea, but because the person concerned give the idea, therefore you must shoot it down. And as you know, I must read to you just in case you have forgotten. And this is again a case of selective amnesia. This is the representation given by you here. The representation given by the BJP to the Standing Committee in writing, which they call a note of dissent, says specifically, we want a constitutional status to be given in writing. We have no objection to a constitutional status. 1 minute. I know the objection to it. You then go to a all-party meeting. Not a whisper of an objection, have a constitutional status. You then come to the Lok Sabha, and the argument you give is twofold. Yes, we want a constitutional status, but only if you take away the Lokayukt part. And second, that you give a strong bill. Now, strong bill I can't give because your definition of strong and mine is different. But the Lokayukt part, how does it have any connection with the constitutional status? How? The constitutional bill is a 4-clause poor bill, 1.5 pages. It is saying there shall be a Lokpal, there shall be a Lokayukt. The appropriate legislature will decide how does the constitutional amendment affect the Lokayukt point. So you are clutching at straws, you are trying to find excuses to actually oppose a constitutional status. So A, you don't want the Lokpal bill to be passed. B, you don't want a constitutional status for the Lokpal. You don't want a constitutional status for the Lokpal. And C, you want to pretend that you are very keen to have a Lokpal bill. Yes, we are in a dissent as far as the constitutional amendment bill is concerned. Thanks to you.